We really know next to nothing about any of the quests in Starfield, although with this new event happening soon, I'm willing to bet that we will learn a lot more about the main story at the very least. But today I want to discuss why Starfield's quests should be great. See, when you're creating a game on this level, a game that's big, spanning over 1,000 planets and 100 different solar systems, you're bound to have some cool quests at the very least. And on top of that, Starfield is of course a Bethesda game, and Bethesda are really good when it comes to creating most of their quests, and I think that Starfield will top the charts for Bethesda's best quests. The main story in itself already seems very interesting, at least to me. Starting the game as a miner, discovering an ancient alien artifact, seeing a weird vision, having to join the last group of space explorers and travel through again 1,000 planets and 100 solar systems to find more of these strange artifacts, put the pieces of the puzzles together and figure out what it all means. I actually have a theory that I've spoken about before, which I want to go over very quickly. This is how I think the opening of the game, or at least the prologue of the game, could potentially go. You start the game, design/create your character, wake up in a mine where you have to go work as a miner. You're given the laser cutter as a weapon and you go and mine. While mining you find an artifact which plays this scene here.
As to what they are, what they're building.
After all of this, you wake up soon after and somebody has called Constellation in order to try and get help and try to understand what just happened and the artifact that you've just found. So now awoken, you leave the mine and you go to the surface to talk to the man who just arrived, which is where this clip would happen.
So, you found something?
The new guy found it.
You dug up the artifact, right? That means you saw it. The visions?
You discuss your findings with the Constellation guy, and that's where you learn that the Crimson Fleet have gotten word of this artifact, where they arrive and attack the mine and all of its workers, which would then be this scene.
That's the Crimson Fleet!
Everybody get ready!
The fleet doesn't follow the rules.
After fighting off the Crimson Fleet, the Constellation dude dies, giving you his watch and telling you to take the artifact straight to Constellation, which is of course where this scene would happen.
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
You would finally explain what happened to the Constellation crew, and Vasco, who was originally the Constellation guy's companion, backs up your statement. Because of this, you are asked to join Constellation, you agree, they tell you to keep the Constellation dude's watch and Vasco and maybe even his ship for yourself. That is when the artifacts are explained to you and you're finally sent off on your quest to find the others. Of course this is all just speculation and my own theory, just a bit of tinfoil hatting here after watching this showcase like 1,000 times, but I do love this theory, not to big myself up or pat myself on the back too much, but I think that this would be a great way to start off the game. One quest that I do really want to talk about is a quest that I think will very likely happen on Neon. Again, all of this is just pure speculation, but if we look at the clips of Neon in the showcase and pause right here, we can see spray painted on the walls of the underskirts of Neon words that read "Don't eat chunks," which we know from the first Starfield trailer is an in-game food. Now because of all of this, I think that there may be a short quest on Neon where the poor people living in the underskirts, if you will, of the city are sort of going crazy about these chunks and warning everyone they meet not to eat them, and you can figure out why. Now knowing Bethesda, chunks are probably people or something crazy, which could lead into a cannibal questline, which would then allow you to choose to become a cannibal. Which wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, because both the Elder Scrolls and Fallout franchises have cannibals in them, so I wouldn't be too shocked if Bethesda included them into Starfield's lore too. Now another reason why I think Starfield's quest will just be amazing is because of, quite simply, Will Shen. Now for those of you who don't know, Will Shen was the lead quest designer and main quest designer for Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC, which I would argue is the best thing that Bethesda have done since Skyrim, but of course opinions are opinions. I absolutely loved that DLC, and nearly every quest in it, so I'm definitely very excited and happy about the fact that Will Shen was given the opportunity to shine here and to be the lead quest designer for Starfield, because this guy clearly knows what he's doing and it honestly gives me a lot of faith in the game's overall stories and quests. Now, if you want to count random encounters as quests, and I do because they can lead to quests and they're sort of mini quests in themselves, Will Shen did also confirm that in Starfield we won't necessarily be meeting random people on the road like we would in Skyrim or Fallout 4, but instead he said that we will be able to find random outposts, buildings and homes and structures that have NPCs in them and what have you, that have been handcrafted for a random event, which I think sounds great, and at the very least this just gives us more locations to explore. We also know that from this same interview that one of the early quests or first quests in the main story actually takes you back to our solar system, which is likely where we can visit Mars.
We can see what looks like Earth's own solar system in the Starfield gameplay trailer. Will there be quests taking us back there and exploring how things have changed?
Yeah, actually, very early on in the main quest, we take you to our solar system, which in our lore is called the Old Neighborhood.
Nice.
And you'll be being sent there on a mission from Constellation to discover the mysteries of the artifacts, and you'll get in contact with the question of what happened to Earth, but also you'll go to Mars, and there's actually a settlement, one of the early settlements that humanity created after they left Earth. It's called Sidonia, and that's a whole city with its own problems and people to meet.
So all of this stuff just sounds great to me, and if you believe the leaks that playtesters have been saying that Starfield is better than they expected and even more ambitious than they expected, I'm definitely very excited to jump into all of these quests and stories, which I think is one of the reasons I'm so excited to create lore videos once Starfield finally drops. It's also crazy to think about the story DLCs that will likely come with Starfield 2, especially when you consider that again we will likely be playing these DLCs by the end of the year. Like, Starfield is super close now guys, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it and play the game and just explore all of these quests and the game's lore in itself. Really quickly before we wrap up, I do want to apologise for how messy the schedule was last week. We are back to normal as of this week. I encourage you all to join our Discord if you use Discord. If you want to stay more up to date on the channel and Starfield itself, we have plenty of Bethesda focused discussions over there and lots of laughs too. It's a great place to hang out, so consider joining us if you haven't already. The invite links to the Discord are in the pinned comment below and the description below, but anyway, that is going to do it for me today guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and of course if you did, please do drop the video a like, it really helps me out more than you can imagine. And of course if you are looking for a place to stay up to date on Starfield, Elder Scrolls or Fallout leaks, news, discussions, speculation and so much other content, consider subscribing because I cover absolutely all of it over here. Anyway, with that said, as always I thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one.